Hi everyone, welcome to the Whiteleyverse with me, Connor Whiteley, for another daily story with a chapter from one of my novellas. Before I start today's chapter, please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you want to buy this book and any of my other fiction, then they're all available from all major ebook retailers. You can order the paperback and hardback copies from Amazon, your local bookstore and local library if you requested. Also, if you want the AI generated audiobook, then you can get it from selected audiobook platforms and library systems like Kobo, Spotify, Barnes & Noble, Google Play, Baker & Taylor, Biblioteca and Overdrive. Now, here's today's chapter. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did writing it.
Chapter 1. The 23rd of January 2024. Canterbury, England. Why are we going to this fair thing? Zach James just laughed and pulled his best friend Laura and the entire world in for a massive hug as they went up a long, terribly tarmacked path with thick oak, pine and beech trees lining it. He shivered a little as he watched his breath condense and formed thick columns of vapor. He sort of felt like a dragon. He breathed heavily and just smiled as the thick columns shot out his nose. The air was great with hints of grass, damp and freshly cut wood that only helped to make the day even better. Zach had always really liked the smell of cut wood. It reminded him of being home with his mum, dad, and two brothers who helped their dad on their tree farm. Zach had never actually cared too much about the farm, but it was sustainably done, so he supposed he shouldn't have minded that much. The sky above was grey, but at least it wasn't going to rain, and it wasn't wet. Zach really didn't like going out when it was wet and cold, it was so draining, and there was nothing better than being indoors with friends and a boyfriend. Not that Zach actually had a boyfriend, even more because of an old friend called Jayden. Zach shook the thought away because thinking about Jayden, what they had done to each other, and how innocent Jayden was never a good idea. Why? Laura asked like a small child. Zach shook his head and just smiled at his best friend. She always did look great with her long blonde hair that ran down to the top of her legs, her green jacket showed off her thin body and she was really fun to be around. She was brilliant, but she clearly didn't see the benefit of going to the big fair. Because I want to look at the societies, which before you ask because I know you're a big kid at heart. They are what the university calls adult social clubs, and no, I do not know why they are called societies, Zach said. They both smiled and Zach focused back on the tarmac path. It was rather nice not seeing any other students on it. Normally when he went to his lectures the path was packed full of students and it was a free-for-all. It was even worse when it was raining or had just rained. And the wide stretches of grass to the side of the path turned into mud baths, and sadly the trees provided little to no cover. The sound of birds, cars and students in the far distance made Zach realize they were coming up to the university campus. The last time he had been up this path was before winter break, so he hadn't realized how far and close everything was at different points. "Why do you want us to do a society together?" Laura asked. "We already spent so much time together, so why don't you admit the real reason you want me to come along?" Zach forced himself not to stop in his tracks, so he kept on walking. He didn't want to tell Laura how he had been spending so much time with her, and still wanted to be with her constantly, just so he didn't have to think about Ryan. Ryan had left him, shattered his heart and just wrecked him because of what Jayden had innocently done. Zach shook his head. He couldn't start thinking about Jayden and what had happened last August. It wasn't healthy. It wasn't good, and he would only start getting depressed again. He couldn't go back to that place, so he lied. "The real reason is because we have both been living in my flat and talking with my flatmates for the past 4 months. We need to get out and see people," Zach said. Sure, Laura said smiling. "It's the truth, and I know we both have other friends, and once a week we go out to Q-Bar with 6 people. But I want to actually do something more." Laura laughed. "Darling, you haven't done anyone for 2 months." Zach flinched a little and tried to grin and smile. It didn't really work, and he was going to have to tell Laura that he didn't want reminders of Ryan. It was true him and Ryan had been very active in the bedroom, and Ryan had left him in November after struggling for months. He just didn't need to be reminders of it. I am sorry, you know. I really am, and I won't mention it again, Laura said, knowing he didn't like reminders of Ryan. How about we look at a baking society? We both like baking, right? Zach laughed as they went towards a little black path that shot away from the one they were currently on. It was a shortcut towards the sports hall where the big fair was happening. Zach had no idea if he actually liked baking or not, because he had never tried it. But if it meant meeting new people, making new friends and getting out back into the world, then he was certainly up for it. And that excited him a lot more than he ever wanted to admit.
Welcome back everyone, it's me again, Connor Whiteley. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's story, because I flat out love writing, creating stories and sharing them with you. If you really enjoyed today's story, then please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithms. And if you want to buy this short story or any of my other fiction, then they're available from all major ebook retailers, and you can get them from your local library if you requested, and you can order the paperback copies from Amazon, your local bookstore or local library if you request it. Lastly, if you want to support the channel on a one-off basis, then you can now buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Connor Whiteley. Also, if you know anyone who would enjoy today's story, then please share it with them. I'm always really grateful when you wonderful people help spread the word about the channel. So, thanks for watching the Whiteleyverse, and I'll see you again soon. Have a great day, everyone.